And we're live. We're here.
Hello.
And let's see, I got everything open. I know I'm monitoring this. Are you on Facebook?
I hear, I see, I'm good on this end.
Oh, let me turn that down. And for the other person that's out there, hello, say hello. We've
Hello.
got everything open. Let me get looking here. Steve, since I'm just visiting for a few minutes, please.
So I guess first and foremost, welcome to this is episode 3 of Talktoberfest 2025. I am Steve Anthony, and I guess at this point I will be your host and joined by the wonderful and talented Nick Lazorchek, or Lasercheck, as Bo and Bernie are wont to say. Bernie, of course, will be joining us. He is just running slightly behind to tell tales out of school. He's doing what the Prod Squad would refer to as pulling a Jensen.
Yes.
He's going to roll in like on 2 wheels and be here as soon as possible. Little birthday celebration for Emma. So who can blame him? He's just running a little bit behind. So Bernie will be joining us shortly. In the meantime, I am Steve Anthony. That is Nick Lazorchek. And we're part of the Prod Squad at WBT. I guess
Yes.
the easiest way to put it is we kind of do our best to keep the train on the track and keep those same trains running on time. Um, Sometimes things get away from us, our fault or not our fault, but either way, that's what we're in charge of. And Bernie and I specifically, for anybody who is listening, by the way, there's a whole comment area chat situation that you can get involved with. I'm on StreamYard. Nick, is there a particular one that I should be looking at for if somebody on
Uh,
Facebook
when when when
comments?
off to your right, you should have you should be able to see the comment section to the right on your
Yes.
screen.
Okay, got it.
And you see, I just put one up there, welcoming everybody, saying, "Hey, come on, join us, come say hello, ask us your questions." Um, and we will also here uh, we'll do a few, and when a few things come up, when we get anybody sends us something, and we'll put it up on screen so everybody else can see it. Because you could be watching this, on Facebook, and we're also on our YouTube stream right now. So we are all set.
So any comments or questions or anything that you would happen to have for us, myself, Nick, and eventually down the road, Bernie, we are happy to answer them. As far as the AM Prod Squad is concerned, Nick has joined us on a number of occasions when I've been out or Bernie's been out. Nick is one of the ones who tends in to fill in, so he has seen some of the chaos and the absolute ridiculous fun that we can have in the mornings.
Yeah, and for anybody who was with us last week with Jim and Bo, I even mentioned to Bo. I come in. I work mostly with Vince and Pete in the afternoon, in the late morning and early afternoon, and so I get to see I get to jump into the utter craziness that is the 9 o'clock hour, because you guys always have, not always, but quite often, that you have a guest, you have something is always crazy going on, and then that's the toughest part. That was the toughest part to learn, was to focus with, because it's usually just Pete, Bernie, and I, or me and the air, because Vince does everything away, so it quiets down after a while. But you guys, there's always, the morning shows always got something going on.
We do, and to your credit, Nick, you've been very good when we've had to do so basically at 10 o'clock, 9:58, we throw to Mark Garrison in the newsroom, and for Good Morning BT, that's the end of what you all hear. It's not the end of our day, but it is the end of our show. So at that point, to Nick's credit, when he comes in, yes, it's pretty chaotic. We're getting all of our stuff together and clearing out of there. And like he said, in the 9 o'clock hour, that is one of the hours. If we have an in-studio guest, for example, when we do Mick Mulvaney on Mondays, or Hancock on Fridays. They are in the room. So when we clear out, we're taking our time because, as Nick said, Vince is remote, so we don't have to worry about getting out and being quiet for Vince to hit at 10:05, 10:06. Once the news is done, we can hang out and chat and talk and do stuff, which doesn't necessarily, like, Pete can't do that, Winterble can't do that, Jensen can't do that, because everybody else is in the room and coming in right behind them. They have about a 5 or 6 minute switch. We benefit quite a bit in the morning show because we can hang out and crosstalk, and that bit was really good, and hey, by the way, Beth, you and I, we need to record a thing for Valentine Dentistry, and Bo needs to use a studio because he's got to put some stuff together for tomorrow. We're doing a thing, so we can crosstalk right there in the room. Whereas the other shows, basically, outside of us and TJ, when he finishes up at 9 o'clock, they're the only ones that can really hang out in the room and do anything. So that is definitely one of the benefits, and one of the things, yes, that Nick does have to deal with that chaos as we finally transition out of the room and go about whatever we're doing. So I mean, we do have a lot of fun when we have the opportunity to have fun. For those of you who are fans of the morning show and have maybe watched the 17th segment, the last episode, we released a new one this week, but the one prior was called, When Things Get Heavy. And we had a heavy couple of weeks, between terror attacks and shootings and assassinations. It was a heavy few weeks. And so those are our days where we come in and we do our job, and we do it to the best of our ability, and we try to lay out the facts as they are, and try to mix in a little bit of things to kind of ease you into your mornings. But that's not always the case. On the days where we just kind of get to have a ton of fun, as you heard, like this past week, we had a lot of fun this past week. There was some good news, which meant good moods, which, and that is when we get to do the contest, and doing the Sir Stephen of Anthony thing is definitely makes the room crack, and we do have a lot of fun with that, and there's a lot of moving parts, so there's a lot of stuff going on, and those are the days for us. And Bo said this on the most recent episode of the podcast. Those are the days for us, where we walk out and we are energized, and we are constantly reminded of why we do what we do and why we love doing what we do. So that's I guess the initial bit of the behind the scenes of, like, I guess kind of my portion of what would be the 17th segment if I wasn't in the middle of producing and just kind of popping my head in there from time to time. Those would be some of the things that I would add to that. And those of you who are fans of the morning show, who either haven't heard us talking about it, I don't know how you missed it, or haven't watched it, I don't know why you haven't watched it. The 17th segment is available on the WBT YouTube channel. It is also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Same places that you get all of the other WBT podcasts. It is available, and it is after we finish a show, one random day. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I just I just hope also everybody knows, push that YouTube, because it's nice. This is our first that I'm aware of, at least while we've been a part of this, that we have a video component of it. Which that's great to see. That's what we I hope we see a little bit more of that going on, and that's go over to YouTube and catch it. It is fun to watch, and you guys do a great job down there doing that, bringing a different look, and a different feel, which is fun. Everybody should go check that out.
Well, and we appreciate it, and for us, it was obviously behind the scenes, there's always, a lot of moving parts, and Bo and Beth and I and Bernie, we always are talking on air, or off air, I should say, about what are we going to do and how are we going to do it, but also ideas for things. What do we think would be cool? What would be fun? What types of take should we have on a thing? And the 17th segment is the product of that. Oddly enough, one day I was probably working for the show at that point. I don't know, 8 months, 9 months, give or take, and went to them one day. We had done a particular segment, um, and I remember it was when we talked about third places, how third places don't necessarily exist, or we've run out in our modern time of third places. We have work and we have home, but like, what's your third place? Where else do you go to meet and socialize and be human amongst other human beings? And the segment went for, one segment, two segments, three segments. Callers were calling in, and this was before the text line. Um, and it kind of caught fire. And then it was a matter of like, okay, well, we need to shift gears because we have this other thing going on, like, and it's scheduled, and we this is what we have to do in this segment. And it kind of throws that vibe off. I mean, you have to stop that subject that you're talking about at that point. So I had gone to them after the show. I was thinking about it, and later on that night, I was thinking about it. So the next day after the show, I went to them, and I had actually kind of taken some notes and basically pitched them and was like, look, I really think when we do these bits that catch fire, we should do something else, like another segment. Let's go into one of the other rooms and record a podcast and just do, Bo and Beth off air, or Good Morning BT off air, something like that. And Bo and Beth kind of looked at one another, and they had that little twinkle, and they kind of smiled at each other. And Bo looked at me and he goes, "Let's go down the hall and talk." So we go down the hall, and I'm ready to make my pitch and say we should start podcasts. And we walked into one of the production rooms, and Bo goes, "So, about what you were saying, Beth and I have been talking for a while now, and we want to do a podcast." And I was like, took the wind right out of my sails at the same time of putting a whole nother gust of wind behind it. Um, and I guess that was kind of the birth, so to speak, or the very beginnings, of what would become now the 17th segment, and what we continue to evolve and make, and do more of that, and some other things that we've kind of spitballed at one another. And wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And it's not really the 17th segment, but I've got an idea for something else that we can do. Um, and all of that is to say, those are the conversations that happen off air, that when people are like, man, you guys get to just walk into a room, you do 4 hours of hanging out with your friends, and then you go home, and that's it, that's the job. It's not at all. There's a lot more to it, and it's all very challenging and all very awesome, even from those of us behind the scenes. Nick can attest to this, and later on this month there'll be the PM Prod Squad event, which you'll get Isaac, you'll get Lonnie, you'll get Nick, where they can tell you. I mean, it's a lot of work, but we have a lot of fun. We do a job unlike very very few people in the world get to do what we do, and it's an absolute joy to be able to do it.
Very
And
much so.
I'm grateful every day that we get to do it, and we get to be creative, and we can throw things out amongst another group of creatives, and people that think the way that we do, or can see things in a little bit of an off kilter light, and go, yeah, that sounds cool, or well, what if we did that, but like this, and then eventually we get to share it with people, and that's an awesome thing, I think.
It is, and it's been interesting because this is I came to this as a for lack of a better term, a third career, and but I was a listener for since I moved here in 1998, and now being a part of it and getting to watch these guys work and how quickly things move. I mean, there's nothing more exciting than a breaking news day. As the last couple of weeks, I guess, 2 months now, the way it just the pace things have been happening, it was a heck of a learning experience. You something I hadn't expected. I thought, oh, hey, I remember I've worked under pressure before, and I can, those kinds of things. But then there's the contact and the human element, for lack of a better term, I guess. I don't know that when you're getting all the texts and the phone calls, when the like the whole Charlie Kirk thing happened in the last segment of Pete's show and moved then for 2 days. I mean, we were wrapping up, and Isaac was the one who pointed it out and said on the TV, said, "Hey, something's happening." And then all of a sudden we jump into action. We're trying to find, get the information. People start calling. It was really, really, really exciting, different. Look who we've got here.
Hello, friends. I'm sorry.
Hello.
I double booked myself.
There you go.
How was Emma's birthday celebration?
It was great. We went to Red Rocks.
Nice.
On Strawberry Hill. So I booked it on back to the house. I think they're wrapping up now, but I was able to eat and then head on out. So,
well, welcome.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry.
It's quite all right. We explained in the beginning why you were missing, and that it was a completely acceptable reason. So nobody's holding any grudges.
Well, thank you, Nick, for holding it down too, and Steve, thank you as well. How's everybody's weekend been? You guys had a good weekend so far?
Yeah, for the most part, it's been uneventful, which is exactly what you want, or at least what I hope for. Yeah.
Well, Temple's beating Navy, so I've got that going for me.
There we go.
So that's a start.
Yeah, State's getting whooped by Notre Dame now.
Yeah,
it's 10-7 at halftime. Now it's not a game anymore.
And then in a little while, we got the Auburn-Georgia game, so gotta see how Auburn's doing. I don't know if my daughter's down in Alabama. I don't know if she's going to the game tonight or not, but that's my evening. Catching a little Auburn action.
There you go. Well, what have you guys been talking about? Anything fun?
I've been doing most of the talking, I'll be honest with you. But that's kind of what I tend to do. And talking about, some of the behind the scenes stuff, and we were talking about, for example, like, I was actually kind of giving Nick his flowers about the chaos that he walks into every morning, and that he has to try to zone out to get Vince on the air while we're wrapping up and talking about things and what we're going to do later, or somebody's got to record a spot down the hall, or are getting a guest out of the room, and Nick's got to just like zone in.
Yeah, it's true.
So I was saying that, and we have the benefit of being able to do that. I still love that background. That's the same one from last year. I do remember the cat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I was saying that's one of the benefits that we have that most of the other shows don't. Pete's got to get out for Winterbull. Winterbull's got to get out for Jensen. Jensen's got to get out for TJ. Whereas we're just like, okay, show's over. Like, hang out.
Nick's checking in with Vince, and we're just yip yapping away. So
yeah,
it takes a special kind of person to be able to lock in like that. Nick definitely has gotten used to that. It takes time.
The job is challenging, but it's not terrible. It's learning to block out the other things sometimes and lock in, which is what everybody, I guess, has to do with some fashion. But it's gotten easier. There have been some tense days, but there have been some non-tense days. It's fun. Now, you guys had, was it when you had the what do you call it? The yacht rock guys in, and were they the acoustic guitar guys?
Yeah, Thurston Howell.
When Thurston, they were playing acoustics that day, right? That's probably, of all of the ones that like stand out that I can think of. You're used to John. You say hi to John, or the days that Chadwick has somebody in. That's always, that's not you say hi, you do your thing. But yeah, the Thurston Howell guys, they were. That there were a lot in there too. You guys had to do all sorts of things to mic them up and get them on the air, and that was the one I remember. That was a little hairy getting around.
Well,
Yeah,
especially
it's definitely
when you've got all those moving parts, and then trying to clear everybody out and kind of get everybody out of the room. But they want to, we only get to see them a couple of times a year, especially
Absolutely.
in person.
Yeah.
And they want to hang out and chat. We want to hang out and chat, but there's also,
And
a
and now
radio
I've
show
learned that
that has
my
to be
role
produced.
sometimes is just to be quiet and get in there, do my thing, and let you guys be good hosts, and say goodbye to your guests and stuff. That's part of it too, because you know what, everybody, even whether it's okay, maybe some of the hardened politicians don't really care, but even some of a lot of everybody who comes in seems to think it's pretty cool to get to sit down and talk to y'all, or talk to Pete, or talk to Brett. And so, that's part of our job too, is to, make everybody feel welcome while they're in there. I'm not gonna, I think that's an important part of what we as a group do too, is, because it doesn't happen all the time either. That's pretty unique to us too.
It's definitely, well, it's helpful having people in like you and Steve who care about what's going out on air, care about what's, being produced and stuff like that. Like, you guys have a sense of pride in what you do. And I feel like it makes work easy when you work with people who have that same sense that you do. Cause I want everything to sound good. I want levels to be good. I want the product to be, been around for over 100 years. That says something. So I want to be able to add to that. And I feel like it's nice to be able to come to work and know that I work with people of like mind, like you and Steve and Isaac in the afternoons, and Travers, who we've just brought on, and just the whole prod squad, quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, I do think we've gotten to the point now. It's been about what, I guess, since we've all settled into these roles, about 8 or 9 months now, that, you guys have your handoff early in the morning, because Steve, unfortunately, you got to be there at the pre-dawn hours, and during the space talk, and then you hand off to Bernie hands off to me, I hand off to Isaac, and we've all got we have a little bit of overlap, which makes it nice, but we all have work well enough together that it's general. We know how the next guy wants it. Bernie always has me set up, at least for the next couple of things that are about to happen, and
Steve does the same for me when I hop on the board. So it's
and when I was just the overnight guy, I've tried to make sure that you guys had your time, because you also, what I don't think people understand is the amount of at certain times, Steve, that's sort of your thing now, is you've got a lot of prep there he is. You got a lot of prep to do before Nick gets on the air.
Yeah.
You're in there, and also you guys have a lot more prep in general, and so I learned that pretty early on before I knew much. So I was like, okay, I've got the time here. I'll get you out of your last hour of syndicated broadcasting, and before we go live, so that all you have to do is push the button a few times, and because it's all. And Pete talked about this when he and Hancock were out at the blood drive last month. First thing Hancock told him about was the studio handover, and make sure that don't be be ready for the next guy. Don't be that guy who's not. And then I heard Pete tell that story once a long time ago, and that was the first thing I thought of once I started going live. Because before I would I would bother Bernie for like a half an hour. I'd stay late and chat with Bernie at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he'd be like, "Dude, I got stuff to do, man. Get out of here."
Well, and it is one of those things that it's because what the next guy, I mean, for the most part, what the next guy has to do, especially right in the beginning. Getting your legs under you. And for, again, kind of inside baseball, I mean, we have some paperwork that we have to handle, and we have, reports that have to be done, and all this kind of stuff throughout the course of the show, and all of those moving parts. You have to basically get all of that set up when you get there before the show starts. You have to have all that stuff kind of ready to go, and that is not an easy thing to try to get somebody live and get them going so that you have like 2 minutes to throw stuff together. Whereas if you get, 10 or 15 minutes to kind of settle into it, things tend to be a lot easier. And so, because I know what Bernie's about to walk into, because for example, what Isaac's about to walk into, and how all of those things have to be done and what it takes to do them, it's just, I feel like, especially with us, we work closely together and we are a pretty small team. Um, but out of what I would hope is just kind of like common courtesy for your fellow man, of like, hey, it takes me an extra 45 seconds to 2 minutes to do a thing that would take you 5 or 6 minutes,
Yeah.
because I'm at the end and I don't have a lot of stuff going on because I'm getting ready to leave. Why would I not do that? Because you do it for me, I'm going to do it for the it's a pay it forward thing, but it's also just like, yeah, man, don't worry, I got you. It's
And
Yeah.
sure.
I learned that I think it was my second week working, and I was doing, I was working the overnights on Saturdays and Sundays, and I was, getting ready to come in at, whatever, 9 o'clock or whatever it was. And I woke up and I saw that, Trump had been shot at. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is right in our way. This is going to be crazy. Let's see what happens." So I rushed in to try. I thought, "Oh well, they could use an extra hand," which to a degree you could, but there wasn't much space for me there. I mean, there's really not much room for us to, other than to be a runner at that point. I mean, you try to. Yeah, that was enlightening with how much everybody has to do on the other side of the mic, I guess. And but there's just not a lot of room. I'm like, well, I'm sure there's something I can do there. Well, no, there's only one person who can run the board. You got somebody who can answer calls and get people in and do other things. And it's that was I was looking at it completely differently, and that also gave me an appreciation of making sure that I got the guy after me set up, because there's not a lot that you can do. I was able to sit back and watch that night, and I guess Winter Bull went on the air that night remotely. We had Fox News and Fox Unanchored on, and it was a heck of a learning experience. But it was mostly that you're there to back up the guy in front of you, so that when there's only so many hands that can do it. So make it as easy as you can for the next guy.
Well, and speaking of that, I know, Bernie had been with Bo and Beth for a good 2 plus 3 years, maybe 4. I'm not even sure, Bernie. You were
No,
there. Were you
couple
there
years.
before Beth?
No, I started like 2 weeks before Beth started full time. Like she'd already been
Okay.
doing spot fill-ins with Bo, but when she came on full time, I had started like 2 weeks before her. So we started about the same
Okay.
time. So 3
So
years.
for me, I mean, just to kind of play on what Nick was saying, with the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, that was my first experience. I mean, I've at that point had been doing radio for, going on 30 years. And that was my first real experience with like breaking news and getting a phone call from my boss going, "Hey, something's breaking." I don't know if you're paying attention to the news or if you have a TV or a radio on, but you're on.
And Brett Jensen's
We're
not here to take care of it. So
right.
what
Yeah,
are you gonna do?
we're going to work. And you need to be there. Um, and that was where it was like, oh, okay, I guess we're going on the air.
Yeah, it was Sunday
Um,
morning. Yeah, I remember that.
and right, it was a weekend, so it wasn't even like, oh, well, we're going to be on the air tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. anyway. No, this happened on a Saturday, afternoon. Um, so yeah, we're on air Sunday morning, and completely unexpectedly, but it was like getting the phone call of, yep, we're going live. Um, so yeah, to your point, Nick, it is one of those like, oh, you have to. And that whole morning, my main responsibility was keep the news feeds updated, keep things in front of them as things break or as stories confirm. If Fox has it, but nobody else has it, or CNN has it, but nobody else, but AP and Fox have the same thing. Like, okay, so AP and Fox are both saying this, or whatever, and making sure that that gets in front of Bo and Beth as quick as possible. You know, for anybody who's ever watched like, you know, the newsroom or the morning show or any of those kind of dramas about what a newsroom is like, you know, we're not at the level of doing a television show, a full-fledged television show, though they do one down the hall from us. But I mean, we are, you know, and Bernie can attest to this, we're back and forth with whether it's Mark Garrison or Jensen or, you know, especially if Jensen's out and about somewhere or doing something and on scene somewhere, and Brandon or Jeff Atkinson when he's filling. I mean, we're always constantly in contact with all of them, and it's a good team, and it's one of those where you go, okay, well, I know that if I miss it, he'll catch it, and vice versa. You know, to use a sports metaphor, like if that ball is coming to center field, you know, either the guy from left or right is right behind you to make sure if you miss that ball, we're still going to field it and get it back in field quick. And that's the team of guys. That's what our prod squad is.
Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Mike.
Hello, Michael.
Bernie, fire away at that question.
Honestly, it'd probably be the job that I have now. I love being able to do the production side, but also being able to chime in occasionally whenever, you know, it's a fun topic or it's something that I feel like I can add to. Obviously, I think the political stuff is, I try to, you know, steer clear of that as best I can. And Bo and Beth are both, you know, well versed in that field. I think I like to let the people who are quote unquote not experts necessarily, but people that are well versed in that kind of stuff speak on that. But I love the production side. Steve does. I get to watch what he does after the show whenever he's cranking out promos for our program director Mike Schaefer, and if you just watch basically how he builds it out, it's a lot when you first look at it, but then you start to see, you know, his process, and it's really cool. I think that's the everybody who gets into radio, and I think most people want to be on air. I think that's everybody's end goal is, you know, I want to host a show or whatever. But I think when I got into the production side and I started to be a production assistant, that's what I fell in love with. And talking on air is just gravy. It's fun. But the production side, I love being able to, for Bo to be like, hey, Bernie, how long is this? Can you have this cut in like the next, you know, 2 minutes so that I can throw to it? Like, that's the kind of stuff that gets my blood flowing. And I know there's obviously really heavy days. Nick and Steve, you can attest to that, where, you know, we have either, you know, president is assassination attempt or the Baltimore Bridge. Like, there's days where it's a very heavy day, and, you know, we may not talk much, but it's exciting to be able to turn on a dime. And, you know, Steve, you give Bo and Beth, you'll send them stuff via email constantly whenever they're on air, and it may give them some new information that they didn't have prior, and they're able to get that pretty quickly. It's stuff that I'm not able to necessarily do when I'm either cutting up or I'm doing other stuff on the board. You add that element to where you're able to help with that news process, and in the 24-hour news cycle, that's extremely important. So I would say probably where I'm at now is I love doing it. I mean, I think, I don't know, I like to let the other people make the program direction decisions, and I don't know. I guess production director. I could see myself doing that eventually one day. I like the production side, so that would be my answer. Sorry, I was long-winded.
No, I think it's. I mean, to hear it is, I think it's awesome, and I think, and I've told you this, you know, just you and I, and I've said it in front of Bo and Beth, and I'll say it in front of, you know, anybody who's watching now. I think that that you're an absolutely phenomenal producer,
Thanks,
and
man.
for you know, I've been doing radio. I've been in the industry, in and out of the industry over the course of the past 30 years, and watching Bernie on the board sometimes is like, and knowing that he's you know 10 years younger than me as well, I'm like, damn, man, he's got it. Like, he's solid.
Well, credit to
He
I do give credit to John Moore and Bo, because I watched John for a number of years, and Bo has helped coach me. I think that's the fun part of being a producer. I think both of y'all can attest to that. Every host is different, so
Very
that's
much.
that's what I love about going in, and you kind of mold to whatever that host may need. Like Pete is different in terms of what he needs. Vince is different. Bo is different. I've worked with Jensen a couple times. He's different. Everybody just needs a different kind of producer. So I feel like that's the fun part, man. I love that. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, I've always been really impressed of just knowing how solid you are. It's very reliable. If Bernie's on the board, I feel like there's everything over there is cool. You know, don't have to worry about that at all. And from my side, real quick, I mean, you know, again with doing as much as I have, I loved being a production director. Bernie brought that up, and for those of you who aren't completely aware of what the primary function is that's kind of the person who handles everything that happens between sales and the program directors and on the air. When it comes to the commercials, to the promos, to the what we call imaging, you know, things in between the segments, all of those things, that kind of all falls on the production director's desk. And they're the ones that, you know, they have to take stuff from different networks and make sure that that's available, handle the production for the entire cluster of stations. I mean, WBT is part of Radio 1 Charlotte. So we have, you know, WFNZ, and we have Mix and Praise and 105.3 and the Block. All of those are running out of the same building within probably about a 50-60 foot stretch of one another. And the production director handles all of that. We actually have two in Charlotte, Jerome and Craig, both of whom are great at what they do and kind of keep very similar to what the reference I made earlier of keeping the train on the tracks. They're the ones that actually put that train together. We keep it on the tracks, but they kind of stack the cars in the order that they need to be. Along, of course, with our program directors and our traffic and continuity people. I mean, it really is amazing how many moving parts there are to get to that product on the air. You know, when you hear Good Morning BT, Vince Coakley, Pete Callender, Brett Winterbo, you know, you especially those later things, you know, you get the one name of the host that's on the air and all the credit in the world to them, because they have to provide the content for those 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 12, 15-minute segments. But all of the things that happen when they're not speaking to you, those are the 87 other people that work in Radio 1 Charlotte that are making all of the rest of that happen. So that's, like Bernie, my long-winded roundabout of when I was a production director. For me, I love that. As well as sitting in a room and getting to create random stuff. Like this time of year, for example, I am not a fan of Halloween as a general holiday. Like, I could take it or leave it. But as a radio producer, this is one of the most fun times of year.
It is fun.
As a music producer, if you do, you know, audio production for a living, Halloween is such a cool time to be in that industry, because you get to make the weirdest, wildest stuff, and people eat it up, and it's a ton of fun to be able to do.
We got a couple comments here. I was just gonna run through them real quick, and
yeah,
Barbara, that was very nice of you to say that me and Steve crack you up. Zoki cracks me up. So typically when you hear me laughing in the background, it's actually everybody. I mean, I laugh at Steve. Steve will give me side comments off air, but like during the segment. So I'll be in the background and I'll turn my mic off and Steve will say something to me and it'll make me like yelp. And sometimes I really hate that I do that. It's just like I can't catch myself. Jim will make a face, or Beth or Bo will make a face, and I will just, it's like ingrained in me. I don't know what it is now, but I'll laugh off mic constantly. And it's typically because a face that someone has made. One day, if we ever get live streaming cameras in the studio, it would either skyrocket the show's popularity or it would tank us completely. And I'm not sure which one.
You're not
really
wrong.
Fun in the breaks. And I was going to answer Tony. Asked.
We'd have to go to black in the breaks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tony said, Bernie, I'm curious, how much of GMBT do you set the agenda for, and how much are Bo and Beth ad-libbing. I'll be honest with you, Tony. Bo and Beth prep the show completely just together. And they have a show sheet that me and Steve created that we can all follow. And they basically will, every now and again, me or Steve will book a guest, but typically Bo and Beth will book their own guests. We'll have recurring guests that come every week. And we kind of just fill in the blanks. Bo and Beth do a great job of kind of just going with the flow. They don't really know what they're going to do for an entire show when they crack the mics. They figure it out along the way. And I feel like I don't know how much Bo loves this term, but I call it organized chaos because I feel like that's what it is. It's chaotic, but it sounds so, I don't know, or it is organic. That's why it's so fun because it's none of it's planned. Like Bo will give us a topic, and then the side comments that you hear, the genuine reaction, like that's all stuff that has not been said off air. Like I can't fake a laugh when Beth says something ridiculously hilarious, or if Bo mispronounces a word. Like this is all like genuinely organic. And so to answer your question, I don't have too much to do in terms of prepping the show. Bo will send me and Steve cuts in the morning. I will usually cart them, is what we call it. So I'll put them inside of audio carts digitally, and it allows me to access a whole library of audio, whether it be music beds or audio clips. And I'll just add it to that every day. I copy over those when Bo sends me new cuts. And Bo typically will cut all of his own audio. I'll cut business in the morning, or if something breaks during the show and Steve is able to break away, Steve will go grab something in Studio D because that's the only place we have to really pull fresh audio while the show is happening. So there's just a lot of moving parts in terms of getting the show prepped. That's all Bo and Beth, but they send us the stuff in order to kind of get it ready to go, and then it's kind of we're just kind of riffing for the most part, unless they're on a very heavy topic. Then I think they want to feel a little more in control. But I think Bo does a great job of trying to keep us all in line. And I just try to keep us on time. That's pretty much my job. Make sure the levels are okay and keep us on the clock, which is not always successful, but sometimes you have a great guest and you take them a little longer than usual. And for that, I apologize for the long breaks, guys. I just want to let you know if we have a guest, we take them long. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I do my best here. Bo and Beth do their best here, but if you're getting good content, I mean, it's just that content is king. That takes precedent. So, sorry, that was another long-winded answer, but yeah, sorry, that answered Michael's question too about the cuts. So,
yeah. So with the cuts and so when we talked about Bernie, some of the stuff that you just said is very much I guess kind of I don't even want to say inside baseball, but it's one of those things. We had somebody ask, and we had done a segment of the 17th segment, a portion of one of the episodes, about the fact that like we're not a scripted show. And actually just this past week, on the episode, which is available on the WBT YouTube page, I'm just going to continue to selflessly promote it.
Yeah, plug it.
But Bo had said, he's worked on scripted shows. Jim Zoki has worked on scripted shows. Beth, on television, unless you're again breaking news, and you get on TV on the teleprompter, it'll say vamp in a block, which basically means like fill time, do something. But otherwise you're getting scripted on TV. That radio, or for us is not like that. Yes, Bo or Beth may say, okay, so here's this article from Vanity Fair, or in whatever Variety or Fox News, headline is blah 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 blah. But number one, they're not going to sit and read you the article.
Right.
They're going to hit bullet points and then kind of converse about whatever that topic is. Or like Bernie said, somebody says something, makes a joke, mispronounces a word, and in some cases, as we will transition a little bit to talking about the live stream, makes a face and
Yes.
everything either makes a hard right or hard left turn, or it just gets even better than it was 6 seconds ago. And for example, just yesterday when we had 3.5 Men were on the show, for those of you who missed them, they are a world champion barbershop quartet, and they were doing I think it was their first song that they were doing. First of all, they came in and they did a WBT jingle on the
Oh, it's
spot
great.
on air,
Great.
which was outstanding. But in their first song, at one point, Bernie and I bent over laughing because Beth was just jaw drop, looked like, number one, she was blown away and she was having the best time of her life all at once as these guys were singing.
Oh
And
yeah.
the face alone just made me crack up. Like, look at the joy on her face right now that's what we do this show for. That's one of those unfortunate moments where people don't also get to see that. And believe me, for those of you who mentioned live streaming or doing a stream from the studio or being able to see us off camera and talk or whatever, the 17th segment is the closest thing right now that we have to that. And I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that TJ also live streams either all of his shows or portions of his show.
Portions, yeah.
Okay. So, those are some options for the moment. I know that Pete does an off-air on his
Yeah,
Patreon.
every Wednesday.
Nick?
Yeah,
Every
he
Wednesday, yeah.
have the Patreon page that he uses, and I know he and TJ have had some talks about, because Pete would love to stream from the studio. We've had a few. Bernie and I have had a few discussions about that. So, I think I'd like to think that that's something that will happen here in the relatively near future, I would think, or at
So
least the option to
believe
go
me,
on live sometimes.
yeah, there have been a lot of talks behind the scenes, without going into too much detail, of how do we do more of this, and specifically the hosts and the personalities that you guys know and want to see.
Mhm.
Bo, Beth, Soki, even for that matter, Mark Garrison and Boomer and Brandon
Yeah.
Dixon and Ann
Mark-
Erickson and Pam Warner. I can only
Mike Dunn.
Mike Doan.
Right?
I pray for the day that I get to watch Pete and Pam do their toss when Pete tosses to Pam for traffic, and I want to be able to see it on camera from both of them, because I've been in the room.
Oh yeah.
I've been in the room and I've heard it on the air. I've been in the room with Pete, but I've never been able to see the two of them do it, and some of their interactions, those are the things I really want to see.
Well, they're both so snarky. That's what makes it even better. Like Pam,
yeah, neither of them let the other one get away with a damn thing.
I love them both so much, and they can be Pete makes you work for his affection. I swear, Pete is like a cat. Pete is a cat. Like if he's a personality, Pete's a cat. My cat's name is actually Pete. So
coincidence?
It was before I worked at WBT. I did not name my cat after Pete. The cat was named before I knew Pete. But Pete, like when Pete gives you a compliment or a kudos, or like when I will always play him a promo before I air it just to kind of get his take on it. And there's been a couple times where I've gotten him to laugh. And I live in that. Like I live for that. When I can get some affirmation from Pete, it's incredible. Like it's like a high. So I love being able to do that with Pete. But he's like a cat, man. He's just like it. Makes you work for it. Pam, on the other hand, is very snarky, but she's like a dog. She's just, I don't know. It's easy to go along with Pam. I feel like Pam's easy.
Yeah.
She likes to talk trash though. Pam talks a lot of trash.
Particularly to you.
Yeah, a lot of trash to me. That's okay.
I was going to say, Pam and I, yeah, we've always got along pretty well. I think that's the Florida in both of us, because Pam was also in Florida for a while.
She's from Miami.
What's that?
I believe she's from Miami.
Yeah, well, and I mean, we never worked in the same stations until WBT, but we have, when we talked about like, oh, did you ever work with so and so, and were you in this building or that building? And so yeah, we have the Florida in us. We get along pretty well, and I can definitely, I've been privy to some of those back and forths between you and
Yeah.
Pam.
And Pam does not back down.
No, she does not. But
Pam doesn't back
like I said, that's the thing with her and Pete. That's why they're so much fun, because
Yeah.
neither of them let the other one get away with anything.
Yeah.
Like for example, when you, Bernie, I credit you with the promo, the signs promo, where Pete
there's a
is
couple
tossing to Pam
promos
in
I
that one
have.
promo. Yeah, about the the yellow sign with the triangle and the squiggly lines, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's," and he's like, "Yeah, no, it's really not."
No,
Like,
that's just a little morsel of the, like, there's so many tosses that I could use promos for, but I don't want to make Pam look bad. Pam's a good person. Pam's a good woman.
right. Well, and I think Pete's show is about
I'm
more
kidding.
than just the toss. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
definitely get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so that's I'm trying to kind of look through now. We get some other comments here. Richie coming in late. Her and Boomer. Wow.
I don't think so. I don't think Boomer talks trash to anybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say
think
Boomer's a very positive. He'll try to lift you up all the time.
And I don't think it's possible to talk trash to Boomer. Like
No,
you
what do you got bad to say
can't-
about Boomer?
He'll turn it and make it so positive.
You can't bring yourself to do it. I don't
Yeah.
think it's possible. But no, I've not witnessed that happen between Pam and Boomer. I think they love each other. Pam and Boomer love each other.
I don't know how you don't love Boomer.
Huh?
Bernie, can I tell my Boomer story from Christmas time?
Oh, please.
It was Christmas week, so nobody's around. It's very, it's a weird week. I was doing a lot of fill-in, and I was working my overnights, and all of a sudden, there was a problem, and Steve didn't expect to have to be there flying solo. Remember, you guys were going to be on
this
the
is
air.
when I got sick.
The Good Morning BT crew was going to do it. So Steve calls me up. He's like, "Hey man, I'm running late. Bernie's not going to be there. Can you hang out and be ready?" I'm like, "Sure, no problem. We got it." We had to get Nick on to get ready to start at 5:00. And at this point, I had never run a live show, so I was a little nervous. I was like, "Oh my goodness, am I going to pull this off?" But I watched Bernie get things ready, so I knew what I had to do. But I was like, "Well, if this is this could really be ugly." And I saw Boomer go trotting down the hall. I'm like, "Okay, hold on." Once we got back into coast to coast, I run over to Boomer. I'm like, "Boomer, you got a problem?" "Baby, there's no problems.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's radio, man. We're gonna make it look good. We're gonna do it. We got it. Nick, you got it. I'm here for you. You need me, you throw to me." I said, "Oh, all right."
That's Boomer.
I'm like, cool. I'm like, he was like, "Dude, there's nothing to be worried about. It's all good. We got it."
Nothing that takes the pressure off more than somebody.
It was like, "Oh, okay, good. Now we're all good." I mean, it's not the greatest story in the world, but it's my Boomer story that I got to tell you what a professional, how great he took the edge off the new guy that day. It was pretty good.
Boomer is just
and
he's incredible.
That's one of the great things about somebody like Boomer, is Boomer doesn't get flustered. He doesn't get, he'll roll with it. And not only will he'll roll with it as far as, oh, something has gone wrong, and again, like I was talking about earlier, the vamp thing, Boomer, I need you to stall. I lost, the computer went down, or I lost my connection to Nick, or we don't have the news bed, or the news is off for whatever reason. I'm not getting the news feed, and I got 3 minutes to fill, and Boomer's like, "All right, that's cool, man. We'll figure it out. Let's go. Let's roll." And you can't help but go "All right, I guess things are going to be okay. Boomer says it's going to be okay. I guess it's going to be okay." And I got to be honest, and I know when I kind of shifted into taking over that last hour of Coast to Coast and then running Carolina Journal, when Bernie and I kind of shifted around a little bit, one of my favorite parts of the day is right around 4:45, about 10 to 5. Boomer will pop over to the studio, and whatever it is, Monday, Tuesday, especially if it's Hope Day, or Friday, you know, Boomer will come around the corner and we get to say good morning to one another. And even at 10 to 5 in the morning, Boomer's Boomer. Like
Mhm.
he is there. You wouldn't know it's not even 5 o'clock in the morning because Boomer's just like, hey, morning, how you doing? Good, you know, it's a
Even when
beautiful
he's sick,
day.
dude. Even when he's sick,
Yep.
Boomer may sound rough, and he may look rough, but you know what? He's still happy, and he's like, "I'm here, man. I'm here. Let's do this. I'm here. Let's do it to it Tuesday." Like Boomer's
Yeah.
just ready to go, and it's so hard not to be just. It's infectious. You know what I mean? Like Boomer is an infectious personality. That's right, Tim. I agree. Boomer is the best. He is.
Yes. Boomer is the best.
He's the standard. And I remember I have told this story before, but when I worked in HVAC, my dad had a contract for one Julian Price Place. So I had walked those halls, changing filters and stuff like that. And I remember meeting Boomer when I was changing filters. And I will tell you, Boomer treated me the same that day as he does every day now that I work with him. Just he sat and talked to me, asked me, like, genuinely just curious about me as a person, and I think that just speaks volumes as to who he is as a guy, as a man. I mean, he just cares about you, and he doesn't even really have to know you, but he wants to. He has that way of connecting with people that I think is really tough to find just naturally in somebody. I think Boomer just kind of has that in spades.
I feel like to piggyback on that, is uh, Beth is very much like that too.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, to kind of keep it in the AM family, so to speak. From I mean, from my interview when I was at the final stages of interviewing with Bo and Beth and Bernie, you know, and Mike Schaefer, our program director, at a table, and me on the other side. I kind of got this vibe of like, yo, she's really nice.
Oh
She's
yeah.
really nice. There's something about her that is like, I get a really good vibe off of her. And, you know, then working and being there, you know, just from the very first day, let alone, you know, a week, a month, and now going on a year and almost a year and a half later of being a part of Good Morning BT is like, yeah, no, she is exactly who I thought she was at that interview tape. She's got this great vibe. She's always just like, and similar to Boomer, even if she's sick, even if she's having a rough day, she's just Beth. She cares about you, and she's wants the best for you, and if she can do anything to help, she's all there. She's there for it.
I feel
And
this
that's how Boomer is.
that's how, and everybody quite, there's no BS. I'll
Honestly,
just go
yeah.
ahead and say it. There's no fluff with a lot of the hosts here. I mean, everybody kind of wears their emotions on their sleeve, and not unprofessionally, but in a way to where if there's an issue, typically people are able to sort it out pretty quickly on air, or they're able to just talk through it. I feel like everybody's pretty honest with each other here. So if someone, yeah, Beth is so genuine that you can tell if you've said something or done something. And I feel like all of us are that way. Like if one of us has been made to feel a certain type of way, we're not really good at BSing our way through that. Like we have to kind of nip that in the bud and we figure it out. And
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're all great at, is that
Yeah,
we're all honest and we communicate.
and frankly, there's not a lot of us. I mean, it is a small group of people that we interact with every day. Yeah, there's a lot of people working in the building, but and you know, WBT has a lot of people on staff, sort of, but you know, you're in there with the same people every day. I mean, Bo has been nothing but kind to me since the day I started. As of course,
he's a pro, man.
You know,
Yeah.
Bo and I, you know, Bernie, you've been in. We've had some great conversations here and there off air. Beth's always been since the very first time I filled in for y'all was you guys were at the beach actually, and still were talking back to me and saying hello. So yeah, there's very little of that stuff because, and also we work in a really small room.
It's hard. It's hard to hide that kind of any kind of issue
we're
that
on
you
top
may
of each
have.
other. Yeah.
We always will work it out, and I can honestly say I think I've only seen one time where it's ever even gotten to where it's frustrating, and it's been worked out in a matter of minutes to where we just kind of we let our walls down. And I feel like we're all good at that with each other. We know that we're all here because we love what we do and we love each other. And we all want what's best
There's
for
a
each
little
other.
bit, Michael, in your comment. There's a little bit, but not much.
A little bit. But I think we all genuinely care about each other and want the best for each other, and obviously for the station and the work that we do. But I think that there's a deep feeling connection between all of us, and I think that's really helpful. And whenever you run into those issues where, a lot of these huge radio shows are a complete mess off air. There's so much drama, there's so much turmoil, and they hide it really well. But I would hate to work in a place like that where it wasn't like how we are on air. It's like that off air. Like we're like that, maybe a little less G rated, but it's definitely just, we're ourselves. And I've never worked at a place where I felt like I just fit in by not trying to fit in. I just be myself and I feel like I fit in. And I feel like everybody has their own style and they fit in their own way. And that's my favorite part about working at this station.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's one of the things of all of the stations and in the different markets that I've been in, WBT, as far as the on-air personalities, that's what they're called. But unlike some of the other places that I've been, I don't, there's nobody that I've encountered that plays a character on the air
Mm-mm.
at WBT.
Nope.
I mean, yes, they may refrain from saying certain things on the air that they might say off the air, but there's not one of those when the mic goes on, it's and this is not taking away from anything from legendary people like Wolfman Jack or Phil Hendry or the Grease Man or people who play characters on the air. But that's not what the BT personalities are. Like the people that you hear on the air, all of the production staff included. Isaac talks on the air, Lonnie talks on the air, Nick gets a chance to talk on the air, you and I get to talk on the air.
Mhm.
We're pretty much, I mean, yeah, on the air, we're the same people that we are off the air. Like
I
Bernie
want to
said,
hear
maybe
Nick
not
talk
so
more.
PG-13,
Good.
but
I talked too much tonight.
I appreciate you, Nick, for helping out here. That you were a huge help, and I'm glad you stuck around. Actually, that's been fun.
Glad-
I'll stop in for the PM Prod Squad.
happy to help out, guys. And but that just goes to show that that we have a good group of people that we work with, and I hope it comes across. We try to make our hosts happy and give them a good working environment, and I think we have one. And we all bounce off. I get to work with you guys. Maybe not Bernie and I work together for quite a while, but Steve and I bounce against each other every day, and so just here to help, and it's fun.
We have the best job in the world, in my opinion. It's not life or death. It's a very fun job. I mean, I still can't believe that. I know we don't get paid six figures, but the fact that we get paid at all to do this every day is really cool to me. And I hope I feel that way for my entire radio career, because I feel like who has it better than us, right, guys? Nobody.
you're not wrong.
It's
You're not wrong.
Nobody. Well, it's been fun, guys. We can wrap now. I know it's been over an hour, so you guys go on about your lives. But I really appreciate Nick. Thank you for hanging in there and filling in for me there. And Steve, thank you for not making me feel bad about it. I appreciate it. I know I
Feel bad
felt
about
bad
what,
when
dude?
I know I felt bad immediately when I remembered that Emma had her birthday dinner tonight. So I appreciate you guys. Cutting me some slack there.
Well, and real quick, just to everybody who commented, over on Facebook, just to give quick shout outs. Thank you, Michael, Tony, Barbara, Richie. Who else am I forgetting here?
Tim.
Tina, Tim. Thank you all for tuning in and hanging out and
Thank you,
commenting and asking questions. I think we got to everything. Anything that was a question or a comment specific to needing answers. you know, of course, I'm going to double shout out Barbara because, you know, I love you as Sir Stephen of Anthony. That was, that's been my,
Give her a
my
good
claim
morrow,
to
Steve.
fame. What's
Let me
that?
get a good morrow. Give her a good morrow.
Well, it would be a good evening currently. I mean,
Go
you
ahead,
know,
do
7
it then.
o'clock,
Almost
but
was trying.
good tomorrow.
There you go.
There you go.
Very
And
well.
tomorrow, don't forget, we've got Vince and Breaking with Brett
Brett Jensen.
Jensen on tomorr's
Yep.
stream. I'll be in the background, but
A little
be there
wild
with
and
those
crazy
guys
in
too.
there.
Join us with that.
Can get wild. All right, we all have a great night, and thanks so much. And we will talk to
Thank
you
you,
guys on Monday.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.